Welcome to our weeks-long journey to a happy place called The Farm. In the meantime, we are taking on nightmarish monsters and half-humans. It's 7 p.m. Pacific, 10 p.m. Eastern on Monday night. That means it's time for Mission Log Live. I'm Ashley Victoria Robinson.
And I'm John Champion. You found us right here, right now, live on the internet. This is the show where we ask you, our Star Trek pals, what you think about New Trek. This week, we are 6 episodes into Lower Decks, which with much ado about Boimler. Click on the Zoom meeting link, use the one tap from your smartphone, or give us a call at 669-900-6833, and make sure you enter the meeting code and the password.
How about living out your days on a peaceful resort planet? How about running from a giant space jellyfish? Exploring the galaxy has its perks and its downsides. You can join us tonight. Let us know what your thoughts are. And while you're at it, make sure you click like and share. The more the merrier. The more amazing Trekkies come here.
The more the merrier, and the more the mariner.
Very good.
Oh, yeah. Hey, speaking of the more the merrier, so many people in the chat already, and they get in there early. I love to see that because I'm kind of taking a peek in there before we go live. So shout out here to Chris Riker, first at the bat, saying, like, you're really on at 6:50? Well, yeah, we got to let that pre-roll go. So, Chris, welcome. Willie McCauley, good to see you. Narda, good day, guys. Excellent to see you, Narda, calling in from Australia, or typing in from Australia. There's Tracy Coco. Love you, Tracy Coco, Lieutenant J herself. There is, let's see here. There's Evelyn, there's Dave, there's Peter, there's Paul. I'm sure more Pauls to come later. There's Scott Palm. What's up, Scott, my friend? There's Michael. Michael even says, hello, everyone, but wave to Ashley. So
Hi.
you got a wave right there. There's Dominic. Dominic, shout out to a partner show on Roddenberry. Says today's Women at Warp was rad.
Nice.
So everybody check out today's Women at Warp show. That show drops on Mondays. There's Dave Takechi and John Arminio and Tate and Lou and just a little bit of everybody. So glad to see you. And I hope we have a lovely chat tonight, all of us.
I thought we were getting a Peter, Paul, and Mary joke there for a minute.
We were going to get very close. Either something very biblical or a folk group. One of those we'll land on somewhere. So, yeah. But anyway, great to see you all. Thank you for joining us as you do. Just a little bit of business to take care of right at the top of the show. One thing to announce, obviously, we continue with this through the end of Lower Decks. Maybe some special Lower Decks things in the works that I can't talk about publicly yet, but we might be excited about them. So stay tuned for that. Some supplementals coming your way. And next week, so September the 29th, that'll be on a Tuesday. Rod and I will be hanging out in sansar.com at 6 p.m. Normally we do 7 o'clock, but 6 p.m. that night. It is our post-game. That's where we'll announce the winners of the Roddenberry recovery mission. But honestly, it's an excuse to just hang out. So come hang out in VR or in desktop mode. Accounts are free, and it's weird. You see, I think Rod and I. No, wait, Rod still has his alien guys. I'm pretty much human looking, and I found the closest thing to a suit that I could find. But then you see people in VR. It's a robot or a giant pickle with human eyes or weird things. Question for you, Ashley. Now, I don't know if you've done any VR.
I have not, because I'm afraid it's going to make me nauseous.
And there's a very good chance it will. But the question is this: if and when, because there will be a when.
There will definitely be a when.
Yeah. When you go into VR someday, are you the kind of person who would try to craft your avatar to look like you? Or you just go completely the opposite direction and you'd be like, say, an anthropomorphized toothbrush or something around.
So if I were in the position that you're in, where you are showing up to be John Champion, you're kind of a little boss man behind the scavenger hunt, I would totally try to present as close to a me avatar as I could make. But if I were playing just as a fan, just as somebody there to engage with the material, I mean, if there was a chance to be an anthropomorphized cat, I would be all down for that for sure.
Oh, that's good.
Yeah.
That's good. Okay. Well, hey, I'm glad that you mentioned anthropomorphized pets, because That leads us right into our poll question. If you'd like to do the honors there. Now, okay, the polling thing, and thank you so much. The name escapes me just for a second. But we had a listener who wrote in and was like, I know how you can get polls back on Facebook. And he and I worked on it so long. No dice. It just does not work right now from a page. Of course, Mission Log has a page, not a group, and it's not an individual. They just don't work. So this week I thought, okay, let's just do something on Twitter. We'll leave it up for 5 days. People have already started to reply, but we wanted to theme it out to this week's show. So Ashley, if you would do the honors.
This week we are asking the most important question I think we've asked in my tenure on Mission Log, which is, what is Star Trek's most disturbing dog? And shockingly, there are way more options than the one that we selected for the poll.
We only picked 3, but yeah, there could be many more. Yeah,
especially when you get into like Vulcan pets or Klingon pets. Like there could have been a lot of scary options. But so we went with Tendy's Lovecraftian Nightmare Dog. I love that. A+ writing. Aquiel's Weird Jello Dog, or the dog in the uniform costume. That's such a sweet, deep cut.
He's so, I don't think it's so much about the disturbing nature of the dog in the unicorn costume. It's more like it's just the indignity of the dog in the unicorn costume. Really, that's what it's about, right?
But that dog is iconic and will live in pop culture forever. So maybe it balances itself out in the end, but it's so interesting that we're talking about Unicorn Dog because they are currently on the leaderboard. They are leading it for most disturbing dog in Star Trek.
Yeah, that's it kind of surprises me. But again, I think people are just disturbed by how disturbed that animal feels in all of those scenes.
Absolutely, 100%.
It's like Tendy's dog is disturbing, but apparently has a great attitude.
She seems happy. Yeah. She doesn't seem too distressed by anything about her existence or the fact that she has to travel to the farm and goes through a lot of harrowing experiences to finally land there. Yeah, she's a good sport about it.
Right. Not mean about like these are my powers. I can open up my neck and Cyclops bats fly out of my neck. But that's not used as a weapon or anything.
Yeah, she doesn't bite anyone at any point. No. I mean, she's arguably better behaved than Aquiel's dog that we also included in the poll.
Yes. And we included that because Aquiel is terrible.
Yes, but an all-time great Star Trek name, I think. A really beautiful name.
It is. By the way, Narda says, I love the little unicorn dog. How can you not? By the way, if anybody has made a unicorn dog costume, I would love to see that in a cosplay. Yes, right.
Please share it with us.
Right. And then let's see. Now Dominic says the puppies. So we're going to talk about the puppies. Alan says, I voted Jello Dog. You are not wrong, Alan. And my favorite here, Michael and Earl actually put it in the promo for tonight's show, Dog Cube. And I love dog cubes so much. That is a cosplay I want to see. Like, Ashley, you've seen it where somebody had like a little remote controlled Horta.
Yes.
Where, okay, so now I somebody needs to come up with a way just to see that like clunk, clunk, clunk going down the hallway in a hotel.
That's so much work, friends. If you do that, please make sure someone amongst us has to get that to CBS and get you hired, because that will be some tricky craftsmanship for sure.
Yes, but where there's a will, there's a way.
Absolutely.
So, all right. I tell you what, I know that we already have people standing by calling. So why don't I give us a quick recap? And
please do.
You and our listeners, they can formulate their thoughts, and we'll have a conversation about Boimler and Much Ado and the Farm and Dog Cube.
Nice.
All right, here we go. Late night, and everyone in the lower decks is beat from a long shift. Tendy is full of excitement, though, showing off her genetic creation, a dog. Just a normal, everyday, sweet, lovable dog that she adjusted to make just a tiny bit smarter. Nobody is impressed until Tendy steps away for a minute when the dog reveals it has all kinds of genetic modifications that make it a terrifying John Carpenter-esque hell beast. Catching up with the senior staff, Freeman, Ransom, and Shax are assigned to a high-level, ultra-sensitive mission to bring a sapling to the Pisipian agricultural colony, so they'll be away for a while. That means it's substitute captain time, which should be fine, except that the next mission will take the Cerritos to a bog planet. And anyway, while Boimler is excited about showing off for a new crew, Mariner is dreading it. Rutherford is doing tech stuff, trying to improve transporter efficiency when Boimler happens in, and it's perfect timing because he can volunteer to see if Rutherford's enhancements have been successful. They have. The transporter is faster, but the only downside is that it leaves Boimler a little out of phase, like he's glowing and translucent and has that transporter sound emanating from his body. Too bad, though, because he's got to go up to the bridge to meet the new crew. Only he's a huge distraction and is ordered by the new captain to sickbay. Dr. Tiana can't do anything with him, but Rutherford does manage to subside the sound effect coming off his body. Boimler will have to go away to the farm, a spa-like facility run by Starfleet's Division 14, where all scientific mysteries go. Oh, and Tendy's dog needs to go there too. Not that Tendy has seen anything abnormal about the dog, named the dog. About that new substitute captain, Ramsey. Turns out she's practically besties with Mariner. They went to the academy together, only Ramsey has really ascended the ranks. These two have got a good rapport, and Ramsey needs Mariner's insights, which means, well, she's making Mariner her first officer. When they beam down to the bog planet, it's a bog, literally. Hip waders required when Ramsey's crew beam down to clear a water filtration device. Mariner has already put off Ramsey's team, though, by being a bit of a cut-up, and she loses more points when she reveals she forgot to beam down their tricorders right at a critical moment. Fortunately, some quick thinking by the others saves the day. Returning to the Cerritos, and after a check-in from Captain Freeman, it's time to rendezvous with the Rubido. And again, Mariner somehow screws it up, setting off an alert when she just needed to run a long-range scan. Maybe she's not first officer material. Regardless, she's still part of Ramsey's team, and when they arrive at the Rubido's last coordinates, they find a heavily damaged starship with no power. Ramsey takes her team. Again, Mariner screws up by bouncing all over in her magnetic boots. Still, while the others try to get the ship's systems back online, Ramsey and Mariner find the crew huddled up in a cargo hold and terrified of the thing that has taken over the ship, surrounding them. Boimler and Tendy are picked up by the Division 14 medical ship, captained by an Adosian with a sinister demeanor. They're introduced to the rest of his charges on the way to the farm. There's the detached head guy, there's transporter accident duo, there's salamander guy, and the spokesman of the group, the ensign, who is half rapid aging and half aging in reverse. All of them are Starfleet rejects too disturbing to continue serving alongside normal crews. The sinking feeling Boimler and Tendy feel get worse when they hear that there is no farm. All these cast-offs have just been traveling for months with no end in sight. But they see an opportunity tonight during a shift change. They will mutiny, which is exactly what Boimler tells the infuriated Adosian, and you can bet that he puts an end to it before it can even begin. What's worse, he rats out the rat, turning everyone else on board against Boimler. On the Rubido, Captain Dayton and the rest of her crew are terrified. The thing that has practically consumed their ship feeds off electricity, and it's too late when Ramsey's crew restore power. It grows. It starts breaking apart floors and bulkheads, and the people panic. Ramsey and Mariner do what they can to get everyone to the bridge where they beamed in, and when Captain Dayton panics, Mariner steps up, punches her, and rallies the rest. It's a big change for the screw-up that she's been all along, and speaking as a close friend, Ramsey wants to know now what gives. Mariner was doing it on purpose. She didn't want Ramsey to come along and offer a position of more responsibility on her own ship, the Oakland. And now here's Ramsey in a position of power, no fun anymore in Mariner's book, but they'll have to put that beside them for the time being so they can save the Rubido crew from the utter destruction around them. Speaking of chaos and destruction, the Starfleet medical cases who have turned on Boimler chase him to an airlock where they are perfectly ready to eject him to his death in space. He's even more terrified when the transporter effects suddenly wear off and he finds himself perfectly normal again, abhorrent to the freaks who have chased him away. When the airlock opens, though, Boimler finds that he falls into the soft grass of an idyllic world. It's the farm, for real, and it's amazing. All these challenged cases, all these Starfleet personnel are tended to, made comfortable, and the Adosian who got them there admits that he probably should have made the trip a little less creepy. Maybe they talk it out next time before he has a mutiny on his hands. Tendi says goodbye to the dog, who apparently speaks and flies, all things Tendi thought dogs could do anyway, which is super awkward, and Boimler clues her in that they definitely can't. So the odd ones out at the farm now are Boimler and Tendi, who need to get back to the Cerritos, even if unwillingly, because Boimler could get used to this treatment of the freaks. As a rubido is consumed around them, Ramsey's crew hurry to her bridge when Mariner calls Rutherford to use his supercharged transporter. The speed is just what they need as he beams all of them back to the Cerritos as a rubido is completely devoured. But what destroyed the ship wasn't malicious. It was an alien life form, one might even say a space jellyfish kind of thing, that just was using the resources near it to grow. And now that it has, it flies off into space, looking for a home. Before Ramsey and Mariner part ways, the offer comes up again to take a higher rank on the Oakland. Mariner says she wants to stick around the Cerritos, though, to figure out some stuff, to figure herself out before she knows if climbing the ranks is what she wants. When Ransom spots these two in the bar, he tries to make a slick move, buddying up to Ramsey, who quickly and easily flips him over her shoulder and into a table. The end. I'll congratulate myself with this.
Cheers.
Cheers to you. Yes, folks, I'm at home, so I'm not endangering myself. Oh my gosh. So other than Cube Dog, first of all, I love the whole conceit that you can just have an evil laugh. And just like that's your thing. Like, no, it's not evil. That's just the way I laugh. That's just how I am.
He is so great. He and pretty much everybody on his ship is an Easter egg as well, which is so much fun. Like M. Willis, who wrote this episode, clearly did her homework because this is just like stacked with references to every different series. And I hope this is a Doctor. I hope we see him again, or I hope we see him in season 2. He was a good time. Like, and everything in this episode I thought was pretty fun. And when you start with a dog, I mean, what more could a girl want, John? What more could I want?
And you know what? I have to say that, I think that in these 6 episodes, the pacing has gotten better, where it's not just throw stuff in your face all the time. They actually allow these little valleys where things can chill a little bit. And I feel like they did now what I've wanted all along, which is don't tell me the joke by giving me a list. Show me the joke. By just letting the camera linger in a room, like there's the salamander guy, there's 3 people in the wheelchairs that just beep, There's 2 Vics for all intents and purposes. yes. So stuff like that really, I thought, worked very well. Any other favorite? There are many, but another favorite Easter egg, another favorite reference you want to throw out?
Oh, man. I mean, the Pike one is the one that went straight to my heart because I've always thought Pike was so cool. My favorite thing that might not be a reference, but probably is where I said millicochrane, that was a form of measurement. And I was like, Zevram Cochrane, because First Contact is my favorite Trek movie. So every time we get a reference back to it, I'm like, yay!
Very good. Hey, by the way, if that is your favorite Trek movie, how do you feel from the original series about Metamorphosis, where we were introduced to Zefram Cochrane? Is there cognitive dissonance there? Characters?
Yes, there definitely is. I like Metamorphosis. I wouldn't say it's my favorite of the TOS episodes, but First Contact, just because it's a movie, because it was 20, 30 years later. I can't do math. I'm really sorry. They just had so much more. Yeah, it was some time later. They just had so much more to work with. And, James Cromwell is like an all-time great actor. So
yeah.
What are you going to do? You know, you can't. I don't know if you can do better than That'll Do Pig. He's just so good. He's so good.
There were a couple. All right, so there were a lot of obvious references. There were a lot of very subtle references. Mm-hmm. I want somebody out there who is better at this than I am, who is better at picking out really small minutiae. Somebody like Aaron Harvey, who is kind of the expert on Star Trek the animated series. There is a tiny bit, and I might have just been hearing things, but when Boimler tells the Adosian about the upcoming mutiny, mm-hmm. the Adosian goes to the weapons locker because every ship has them everywhere, and he pulls that phaser rifle off the wall. When he does that, it sort of powers up, and it makes a sound that I swear is a sound effect that had been used on like 1970s Filmation cartoons or something like it. And I don't know specifically what it is, but I heard it and I was like, that has to be something from an archive. That has to be something somebody writing the show grew up hearing, and they were like, put that there.
Somebody knows the answer to that. I was like, what is the other like deep reference that I thought was like the Roulat Seas, which as a DS9 fan, I was like, cool, Cardassians, yay!
Right, yeah. Well, and I love them training like Picard and Crusher, mm-hmm. And that just with the black ninja suits, and that was great. And look, the whole bit on the Adosian ship, on that Section 14 ship, Department 14 ship, was Todd Browning's Freaks from 1932.
Oh, yeah.
One of us. So I love it just so much. You can tell the references pouring in. Let us bring in our first caller.
Yes, let's.
Yeah, always a pleasure to see you, Chris. Thank you for waiting. Thank you for indulging us to get out some of our immediate reactions to the show. Tell us, what did you love, or maybe what drove you crazy in this episode? Talk to us.
We're still doing good here. Again, the Mariner plot is just wonderful. I wasn't super enthused with the freak thing. I mean, I liked the sort of like details, but like as a story, mm-hmm. I was just like, that's all right. There are other B plots that I've liked more this season. Mm-hmm. I will say I'm very glad. I like the Lemonhead guy, who I'm almost positive is from Rick and Morty. I
was wondering about that. Yes. Get Thrifty. Yes.
So that's
like congratulations to Rick and Morty, by the way, on their recent Emmy win. Hopefully this time next year we'll be saying that about Lower Decks.
Wait, they got an Emmy? What, for writing or?
I'm gonna be honest.
Animated
I think it was best animated series, or maybe it was just for the episode. But
cool. Okay.
Mike was tweeting about it, so I was like, "Yay, good for Rick and Morty!"
Nice. What else? By the way, Chris, are you in a duty-free store tonight, or
this is the jewelry shop from Uncut Gems?
Yeah,
the Adam Sandler movie from last Christmas. So yeah,
nice.
That movie's greite for anyone who hasn't seen it, and podcasting famously a visual medium, but highly recommend.
Like Lemonhead guy. I don't know what he's a reference to, or if he is, but there's a guy who's just like a dude, but he has a duck bill. I'm a big fan of him. He's in the background in one of the shots. I'm like, let's get his story. I want to know. He's literally he's all the same, except he has a duck bill. That's it. That's the only thing. But no, I really liked the Mariner thing. I think this was sort of, I've been calling it her Christmas Carol episode, where like here's what she could have been. She didn't have to sort of self-destruct herself into an ensign. Mm-hmm. And then I think faced with the reality that she could have had an interesting life, she then doubles down on being terrible as I think sort of a coping mechanism. It's like, no, I want to be here. I like being terrible. I really like the Mariner arc this week.
I feel like when we talked in the past, Chris, you bring up, you're like, they have to show us where she came from or what her sort of tragic backstory is. And I think this was the first step toward that. And my conspiracy theory, knowing nothing, is that that's going to be what episode 10 is we'll finally get maybe the whole episode or at least a scene on that. And this felt like a step in that direction too.
Yeah. That's really sort of, well, first of all, it is kind of a Riker throwback to have a character who is capable, has the opportunity to move up, but says, no, I want to stay right where I am.
But says, no, my contract says I have to be on this show.
Right. Now, obviously, they didn't make out Riker to be a screw up in any sort of way, but it did make me think of that when we played that out with Mariner, just saying, no, like I want to stay here. I want to figure myself out. I want to figure out what it is that I actually want. And I thought we were going to get here anyway with her being self-destructive for a reason. And we'll find out what that is, I hope. But I think that shows some of the intelligence behind the show, not just let's do a bunch of Star Trek jokes. Let's actually have characters who have growth, who are going to get to point B and beyond for justified reasons, you know?
And her friend's name is Amina Ramsey. Do we think that's a reference to Cyrus Ramsey, who's a Trek character who suffered a transporter accident? And the trope that we're embracing here, right, is this is transporter accidents. So I'm not sure if that was intentional, but I think it's too smart to not be intentional.
Yeah. It's hard to think about anything in this show as not being intentional because so much effort goes into, okay, these scripts, it's not going to change because you don't have, improvised scenes in animation. Like what you write is what you get from the animator. So everything is intentional. We have to assume. Yeah. What else, Chris? Anything stand out for you?
I really like, this is just, two little things. One, very glad to see the Oakland. My family has roots in the Bay Area, grew up in Berkeley. So always glad to see Bay Area representation. And also Tendy's line of, let the record show that we are here under duress or against our will or whatever. Whenever Tendy delivers terrible things with that nice, really super high energy, that always I'm just like, that's it.
That's another line we need on a t-shirt. I know I say it every episode, but we need that on a t-shirt at STLP next year.
Yeah.
Right. Actually, Chris, you can catch us up with the t-shirt thing because you have subscribed to.
So I've been buying them just sort of single, the ones I like. So I got back in week 4, I got the glow in the dark one, which I tried to wear the other night, but it just wouldn't work with screens and cameras. But it's O'Connor ascending and it glows in the dark. And then last week was Badgie, which I got. That hasn't come yet, but it's just Badgie in like a holodeck grid. And this week, I really like. Oh, hang on. Well, if I turn off my virtual background, this might work. Give me just a sec.
Oh, okay. All right, we're getting there. Stand by. Stand by. Yes.
That's about as much as I can do before we get a copyright claim.
It was good, man. Okay. There we go. Okay.
There. That's the shirt for this week.
Oh, that's cool.
It's Cube Dog.
It's Cube Dog.
Oh, please excuse me while I purchase that immediately.
So I got that. Very excited about Cube Dog. Love Cube Dog forever. Yes.
That is great. By the way, we did, in the meantime, we got a message from Earl who said, Rick and Morty won for Outstanding Animated Program.
Thank you, Earl. Appreciate you.
It should. Yes. Thank you, Earl.
With the Lemonhead reference, to me, I'm like, we have to get a pickle reference coming up, right? That's sort of the next logical Rick and Morty Easter egg.
Right.
So good. Well, Chris, if you've run the course of your important comments tonight, then we will say goodbye. But anything else you want to chime in, then we'll hang on for a minute here.
Really enjoyed it. Ruminating on how to make Cube Dog work. I think I might have to cheat a little. I don't think I can actually make a cube go. You may not know this. Cubes are not designed to be wheels. They're not conducive to that. But I have a couple of ideas how to get it spinning, even if it's not necessarily touching the ground.
I think the thing that cracked me up so much was the sound that it made, because every other form of the dog is fleshy and organic, yet that thing just sounds like a steel cube, just clonk, clonk. Amazing.
The sound, by the way, also the edit when it transforms from dog into cube is just like so smooth. I just kept back and going watching it I'm like, oh, that's a beautiful like keyframe. Just.
Yes. Chris, before you go, somebody in the chat, Paul Harveth, one of our many Pauls who we love and adore, says, where are the shirts from? So if you want to do your pitch.
Titmouse Stuff, which is the animation studio behind Lower Decks. So they come out each week. There's a new shirt. So from Thursday to Thursday, you can buy the week shirt. So Thursday, when episode 8 drops, the Cube Dog shirt goes away and a new shirt comes out, and that'll continue through the rest of the season.
Okay, so titmousestuff.com.
Yes.
Great. Excellent.
Or if you're in LA, just go by their building and bang on the windows until they answer.
Right.
They're in Burbank.
Right. Yeah, they were right down the street from us. And
I was going to say they're quite close to HQ.
Yeah. So I expect all the Titmouse swag to show up one day. So
guys, gals.
Come on. That's funny. We're getting comments here just saying just repurpose a BB-8, put a BB-8 in a cardboard box and let that thing roll around, and that'll be your Cube Dog. So thank you. That's and then Dominic is saying Alamarain. How dare you, Dominic? How dare you, Alamarain?
Very dare. The only bad episode of me say that.
Right. Chris, thank you as always. A pleasure. Thank you for your comments tonight, and we will see you soon. Okay.
All right. Sounds good.
Cheers. Till next time.
Bye.
Hey, it's about time that we go to our little bit of business that we need to do each week. Of course, we love that business. But before we do, there is time to call in. There is room to call in. So just click on that Zoom meeting link. You'll see Earl. He will see you. He will patch you in. And of course, you can use the one tap from your smartphone, or you can just call us at 669-900-6833 and put in that meeting code and the password. It's easy. People do it all the time. Chris did it. The Vice Admiral does it. Lou does it. And you can do it. I believe in you. Click that link. And you'll be talking to us. We'll be talking about Trek stuff and Lower Decks. But before we do that, we're going to talk a little bit about our friends who make teeny tiny spaceships.
Teeny tiny spaceships. The teeny tiny spaceships, canon names now, are, as you know, officially authorized by CBS Studios, and they are the official Star Trek Discovery Starship collection, available only place in the world from Ego Mas Hero Collector. We say it every week. We know them. We love them. We have them in our homes, on our desks, when we remember to bring them for setup. It is a very special collection featuring brand new ship concepts and designs from Star Trek Discovery. It's going to include a bunch from the new season that's coming just as soon as we're done with Lower Decks. And I got to admit, I'll be sad, but excited about the new designs. And each of them has gone through a ton of reference and been reproduced under the supervision of maybe related to me, Star Trek expert Ben Robinson, for their accuracy and detail. By the end, I'm going to claim him as a relative. We're working towards.
Do it. You have squatter's rights. Or
yeah,
something.
there you go.
These ships, I mean, the first thing that you'll notice, because you'll probably see the Baran on screen sooner or later. There it is when I see it on the delay. The Baran, it is bigger than the other ships that they make. Everything in the Discovery line is just over 9 inches from the tip of the saucer to the tip of the nacelle. Baran, of course, has 4 nacelles. That is 2 better than the usual 2 that you would get on a ship. All the ships in this collection are in that larger scale. They're made of die-cast metal and ABS. They are sturdy, they are heavy, and they are hand-painted with reference back to the original CG models from the production. Each ship comes with a display base, don't break it, plus a collector's magazine featuring behind-the-scenes info, original design sketches, and a breakdown of the technology used on board. You get the in-universe info, too, which is so cool.
John here dragging me for breaking my stands. You can start your collection and take better care of it than I do with the Cardenas class USS Baran. We've talked about it, how amazing it is. You remember it. She got exploded by Captain Lorca, and it is available. Lorca. He's such an evil, handsome man.
He is.
It is available to subscribers through this special Mission Log Live offer for only $9.95, which is less than a $10 bill that you can hold in your hand. And it comes to you with free shipping. All you have to do is go to herocollector.com/missionlog, sign up, use the code MISSION. Really easy. Use that at checkout. It will be right to you. And they've got a bunch of other incredible models, including the Discovery, which it's pretty much the law that you have to get the Kerala and the reimagined Klingon Birds of Prey. And I say it every week. The Klingon Bird of Prey is so cool. Get your hands on it. And after that, they're going to ship monthly at a 20% discount off of the standard retail price. Also with free shipping, which is cheaper than you can get it pretty much anywhere else in the galaxy.
Yeah, I would say that. Now, subscribers are entitled to free gifts worth over $100. Now, you could cancel your subscription at any time, but why would you when you get those free gifts worth over $100 coming your way?
Nice.
For full details, go to herocollector.com/mission log. Remember, this Baran offer is only for Mission Log viewers. You will only see that deal when you type in Baran. When you type in mission, mission at checkout. That's how you see it. Otherwise, you see the Shinjo, which is great. But if you want the Baran, you need to type in mission to get that. Fans who would like to purchase their favorite ships individually, you could do that online or at shop.eaglemoss.com or at your local comic book shop for about $54.95 each. Thank you, as always, to Eagle Moss. Two things real quick. Ashley, just to show off, these are a couple of smaller ships that I have in my personal collection. Have not taken these out of the box yet. But that just shows, they're about like half the size of the Baran. They're half the size of the Discovery collection. And the other fun thing here, Eagle Moss is really part of the family. And I love that our listeners love the teeny tiny spaceships. So Evelyn even says when we started the ad, teeny tiny spaceships! ! And Chris Riker says, if Eagle Moss makes the runabout Rubicon in one little ship, would it be microscopic?
So here's the interesting thing. They have made runabouts before. They tend to be scaled to their standard size. So like they're the same size as the rest of your ships. Yeah. So if you're someone like me, you get the old Micro Machines runabouts because they're closer to scale.
Right.
But they do make them, and they're incredible because everything Eagle Moss makes is incredible, which is why to be a Trek fan, you pretty much have to own at least one. It's the law.
Exactly. So thank you again to Eagle Moss, and thank you to all of you who support Eagle Moss for supporting us, because they are awesome. Not only are they cool to us, but I love seeing what they come out with, and I love buying their stuff because it's great.
They also fit really nicely in a Christmas stocking if anyone is starting their shopping early.
You're good. You start way earlier than I do.
I do.
I need to learn from you. So, hey, we do have a caller standing by who we'll get to very, very soon. Again, you can click on that Zoom meeting link. You can click on the one tap from your smartphone, or you can call us 669-900-6833 and type in the meeting code and the password. I promise we will get to that caller in just a second, but a couple of things I wanted to bring up from this episode to throw out to you, to throw out to our listeners. Okay, so we like to mention the actors and voices when we can, when it's something really unique. I mean, we've seen some unique guest stars. This week, all right, someone needs to help me here. And I'm calling on our listeners. I'm calling on Titmouse, whoever is listening from Titmouse, to correct this on IMDb. Fix this, make it right. Okay. We have some amazing characters and guest stars in this, guest characters, right? Now, the half young, half old ensign, we don't get a character name, but what an amazing performance. Whoever did that voice, we don't know who did the voice. Because we don't have a character name. So I don't know who that is. But if you go to IMDb, you see that one of the crew members, it's the Rigelian, is listed as Maurice LaMarche, who is like one of the greatest voiceover actors ever.
Another nice Canadian joining the Trek canon.
Another nice Canadian, yes. And he is awesome at everything. He does, first of all, he does the world's greatest Orson Welles impression, which is not an easy impression to do. He does a great William Shatner. the man can do no wrong.
He's
as far as
Brain from Pinky and the Brain.
He's Brain from Pinky and the Brain, which is basically Orson Welles.
It is. He does portray Orson Welles in the Ed Wood movie, or he does the voice for Orson Welles in Ed Wood as well.
Yes.
And several many other places, but that's, I think, maybe the most high profile his Orson Welles has been.
Yes. So I heard, like hearing this incredible performance out of the half old, half young ensign, I thought, when I saw Maurice LaMarche's name, I thought that's the kind of thing that he would do, because you have to have somebody that skilled to do it. But then according to IMDb, that's not him. So somebody fix this. Somebody correct this. And
Kevin Michael Richardson is also credited on IMDb, but not given a character name. And he's another voice actor who you've heard in 100 million things. And you're just like, come on. Yeah. I understand IMDb is at the whims of production and at the whims of a lot of assistants who have a lot of other things to do, but we want to give credit where credit is due. Like the Fletcher from the last episode, he was credited this week, but not last week when we were taking notes. His name is Tim Robinson, also not related to me. But
I don't believe you.
A gentleman with an incredible body of work. So hats off to him for last week's performance.
See, there you go. And I don't even know if we know who did the voice of the Adosian, because again, he doesn't have a name.
I don't know. I did catch the name of Amina Ramsey, who is her friend, Meredith's friend from the Academy. I got that one down. And I'm not going to pretend that I can pronounce her name accurately, because I have an Anglophone who is more familiar with Anglophone names. So I'm going to give my best impression, or my best guess with respect, that it is Tox Olagundoye. If somebody knows differently, please correct me. And the dog is nice Canadian Jennifer Hale. So I wanted to shout her out. She's another incredible voice actor. She has like 420 credits. Like, she is every show that you like that's animated, she has been on. And I was terrified when she spoke. So I have to say that she did an excellent job.
Excellent. Oh, and by the way, so a couple of people commenting here. Alan says Ramsey herself is Tox from the new DuckTales, another fantastic show.
Oh, so good.
Tate says DuckTales rocks. Evelyn says, I've been watching DuckTales over the last few days. It is a really good show. So coming soon, the Mission Log DuckTales show. It seems like we're honor bound to do that. So,
truly, what a dream that would be, though.
Wait, Carlos says David Tennant is brilliant as Scrooge McDuck.
Oh yeah,
seriously?
He's the new Scrooge. Mm-hmm.
Holy cow! Okay, now
doing his actual Scottish accent.
Wow, you had my interest. Now you have my attention.
You think you got Disney Plus for Mandalorian. You actually got it for DuckTales.
For the new DuckTales. Holy crap. I can't believe it. Okay. And then Evelyn also says, I recognize Maurice. So good. And yes, Maurice LaMarche, he is one of my heroes.
He's a titan. Absolutely.
Yeah, totally. So, hey, still time to call in. Caller, we are going to get to you in just a second. But yeah, you can click on that Zoom meeting link, or you can give us a call, 669-900-6833. Standing by has been John Arminio. By the way, longtime Mission Log listener, longtime Mission Log commenter with a lot of great comments. And we've slipped into some shows here and there. So John, pleasure to see you. Pleasure to hear from you. Thanks for calling tonight.
It's a pleasure to be here. Thank you for having me. And yeah, I've been listening since you guys have been on the original series. So it's great to actually talk to you face to face.
Since we started,
Look, collectively with our backgrounds, we have red, white, and blue. So we're feeling very patriotic to a handful of different countries.
or blue, blanc, rouge, if you're looking at it in your mind. Yeah. Okay. John, what is on your mind tonight?
Well, I'm just so delighted at how wrong I was about this show. Because I know this is an unpopular opinion, especially among sci-fi nerds, but I just really don't like Rick and Morty.
That's okay.
I like it. Just seems so like edgelordy to me. Just trying to be like cynical, like on top of cynical, and just so uninteresting in how like it's so predictable in how cynical it can be over and over again. Mm-hmm. And so I wasn't really into like a Star Trek version of that or like a PG version of that. Mm-hmm. But then I saw Lower Decks and it made me laugh, and I don't know if every subsequent show hasn't gotten. It's not like each episode is better than the last, but I find myself loving the show more and more after each episode, and especially this one, just like the creativity of the gags really like got to me. Just like the absurdity of the eyeballs with the bat wings flying out of the dog head.
Love it.
So it wasn't enough for the dog's maw to open up so you could see down into its torso. It's these cartoon bats flying up, or even the Division 14. My initial thought was like, okay, it's like Section 41 or Section 37. It's going to be an evil science version of that, but then it turns out, oh no, it actually is a peaceful farm that they send all these science experiments to. So it keeps finding ways to defy my expectations. And I'm a huge fan of Tawny Newsome. She's a great comedian. I think she does a great job of giving Mariner like characterization, because she could have been a really one-note character that I was kind of afraid going in, but she really gives that character some depth. So you can see her self-sabotaging, and so then it's so satisfying seeing her really step up to the plate when she can, because she has such ability, and so it's kind of triumphant when you see her be a badass and, punch the bad guys in the face.
Yeah.
I love the scene where she is like holding the child, giving orders, having people be rescued. And I was like, I'm sure this is what we're building, but I'm like, give me that show. Make her the captain. I'm here for it.
I think, I've made no secret on our show about the things that don't work for me or haven't worked for me in Lower Decks. But at the same time, overall, I think what I come away from it with is the idea that these creators, particularly Mike McMahon, because he comes from a place of deep love of Next Gen. John, I don't know if you ever saw his Season 8 TNG Twitter handle, and then he wrote a book based on that, which is like his projection of Season 8 of Next Gen, and it is hilarious. So I would recommend that. Sure. But it seems to me that like they must have sort of gotten together collectively as writer producers and said, okay, these are the things that we love about Star Trek. These are the things that we love about Next Gen in particular in that era. But what if? And that's where I think the show is really strong. Is just where you can take kind of the tropes that are a lot of fun and interesting to pursue, or the tropes are a little weird and dorky and make no sense whatsoever. Like, so many episodes in Next Gen, we see the crew relaxing with there's Riker and his Greek-robed lute playing.
I'm not mad about that, though.
No, but it's like you watch that and you go like, really? That's okay. This is how it is. I used to make fun of it on Mission Log to say like the crew of the Enterprise D would not know a party if it slapped them in the face. Like they just, this is how they entertain themselves. So what I love on a show like Lower Decks is when you see the senior staff entertaining themselves, and it's the bad, musical performance, the bad comedy, and it's just like, somebody was watching Next Gen and going, these people are squares, but let's sort of explore that a bit, So stuff like that really works for me.
And also the whole episode turns on, it's a transporter accident.
Yes.
Which we've seen in every series 800 times. Maybe the scariest version being in the first season of Enterprise, where the transporters aren't quite working yet the way we understand them. And I think finding the comedy in the fact that the sound effect is still going and that's the most annoying thing. So once we take care of that, it doesn't really matter that you're phasing in and out. I think that is very, very clever. And I want to say that, John, I commend you for being honest about your opinions and like your reticence coming in, because that's like a truly Star Trek attitude to be like, I don't know about this. I'm not sure if this is going to work out. And then to be like, oh no, I do see the joy in this after all. So.
Well, thank you. Yeah. I mean, the show even manages to do like over-eager teens really well, or not necessarily teens, but Tendi and Rutherford, if played poorly they could be so aggravating, but they're so funny and so adorable, and you enjoy seeing them together. And if they get into a relationship, I would love it. If they keep the
all
well
I
they
want.
they're just
obsessed, Ashley. I love
I
it.
am. I wrote fan fiction when I was a teenager. Can you tell?
And I love the juxtaposition of these cute, adorable characters and their very purely innocent relationship with like a John Carpenter, the Thing monster, and that cosmic horror coming from a place of pure innocence. Like that dichotomy, I think, is really interesting and a real like font of humor, and it's just such a joy to watch.
How did you feel about Tendy's reaction to an actual dog?
I thought it was perfect because I love how she's so nonplussed about the flying, super intelligent canine, and just like, a real dog. Who cares? That's weird.
I love that they gave her basically like a Lucy reaction. You know, like Snoopy licks Lucy, and she goes, "Ew, germs! I'm infected. I need iodine." And she's like, "Ew, this is gross. This dog is kissing me."
Right. Can we go back to the transporter thing for just a second?
Yeah.
Because the thing that cracked me up was the idea that sound effect is something that is integral to the thing that is being transported. Always and forever without, because you hear it on the show and you just go like, okay, it is a sound effect because we're watching a show that has to have an effect to complement the effect. I get that. In universe, you kind of go like, okay, well, it's machinery doing something. It's Scotty's console making a noise because there's energy happening, doing something around them. But now we have, and I hate the word, sorry to put it in quotes, we have canonized the idea that sound goes with that person. Like they're hearing that and everybody around them is hearing that. So when Kirk is carrying on a conversation with Savick as they're beaming over to regular space station. Like they're hearing that and he's yelling over it, right?
It makes every time they're speaking, when they're beaming in or out, you're like, there's no way that actually happens.
Like what? It's just, no, it's the transporter. It's not you. It's this.
It's also going to give a whole new, I think, context every time, because we all know the person where that's their text alert. So every time you hear that now, I think it's going to have a different meaning to it, because it's either that or it's the communicator beeps.
Right. Yes. That's funny. Okay. Yeah. Of course, John Cooley points out, as we all know, as Star Trek fans, that's the sound of your death and your clone's birth.
Yes. Which is, I don't like to think about that because sometimes I run down that rabbit hole and I find it distressing.
But it's true. It's true. Yeah.
Sometimes literally, because we had Thomas Riker. He was there for a bit.
Yeah. By the way, shout out to John, our caller, because Narda says it is a true Trekkie who will admit that they were wrong about a new series. Well said, John.
Well, thank you very much. I appreciate that.
Nice.
Because, I mean, even with Boimler, I was afraid that every episode was going to be him being a dorky idiot and then Mariner one-upping him, and that'd be the dynamic for the whole show. And we had that for like an episode and a half before their relationship got deeper and deeper, and we can see why they're such great friends and they function so well as a comedic duo. Yeah. And, I mean, we even the transporter gag is a great character moment for Boimler, because he's more concerned about looking cool in front of the new captain than the fact that he might at any point dissolve into nothingness. So
I was gonna say too that I thought this was maybe Boimler's best episode in terms of like character growth and development, and we got to see him even through that like anxiety of how he's presenting himself. He's fairly capable with the fact that he's just dealing with the fact that this might be his life now. And he's just going to push on through.
Yes. But I think you're right. In a lesser developed show, we would have gotten that, I assume that they wrote a show Bible for this the way you would any show, and particularly Star Trek. You need to get people on the same page about who the characters are, what they look like, what they sound like, how they react to things. In a lesser developed show, you just said like, well, this character is funny because he does this or she does this. And it would have been that simple and two-dimensional, but very clearly they're looking at this through the lens of Star Trek, which is what is their function, how do they interact, and where do they go? Where do they actually end up through this journey? So I love that they're doing that.
Even the simple move of in the teaser when we see Rutherford working on the transport and the amount of efficiency he's trying to squeeze out of this is nothing. The fact that Boimler is immediately game to help him, he has no issue being the guinea pig because he trusts the tech and he trusts Rutherford's capabilities. Like that's going all the way back to when Rutherford was like, maybe I'll switch divisions. Like that's the idea of what being Starfleet is. Like your buddy needs someone to be the guinea pig in the transporter. You're like, absolutely, I'm here. I've got nothing else to do. I'll step into this transporter for you. Like that was really, it's funny, of course, but it's also really powerful when you sort of think of it on that secondary level.
Yeah. So, by the way, a couple of things that I want to do here as we get to our final minutes of the show. And John, you're gonna stick around for this. You're gonna hang out for this. This is very important.
You've been drafted.
Yeah. So first of all, I have to point out that my favorite two words, my favorite phrase in this show was clinically obscene. that is one of my favorite word combinations now. I'll put it up there in like my top 10 along with medically inadvisable. So for example, like if I were to say, how many cocktails we have after the show tonight? I don't know. It might be medically inadvisable. I don't know. We'll see. But clinically obscene, I just think is a great phrase.
Well, your cocktails could lead to clinically obscene behavior.
They could. They may have on many occasions before. But yeah, I like wordplay is a strength of this show. And that's why, when I prep stuff for Mission Log anyway, I'll watch it through, but I definitely watch through with subtitles as well, because I want to make sure that I'm catching details, catching names, but catching wordplay like this. And it goes by fast. So you got to grab stuff like that. Before we get to our wrap up here and John recruiting you, any other kind of final thoughts or shout outs or references or things that you love?
Boim me up. I'm down for that. 100%. That should be the new phrase for I think this will end in an accident. Boim me up.
Mm-hmm. Okay, good.
John?
I'm a defender of Encounter at Farpoint. I think that's a great episode. So I love the space jellyfish reference in this episode.
Yes, that was nice. All right, so John, the reason I asked you to stick around is because, as you well know, Mission Log is predicated on the idea of exploring morals, meanings, messages. Here we are with this silly, fun cartoon show, but very Star Trek, definitely cut from a Star Trek cloth. So I ask you, as I ask Ashley, we don't really formally do this on the live show, but morals, meanings, messages. What do you think, if not this episode specifically, but you can talk about this episode specifically, morals, meanings, messages of Lower Decks? What are they aiming at? What's the heart, the philosophy of the show?
I think really to trust in your friends and that they have your best interests at heart, because I think characters like Boimler can really get in their own way when they stop trusting in characters like Mariner, when they really always have each other's backs. And, Mariner can do the same when she, self-sabotages herself. And, when she encounters, her old friend from the academy, she's pretending to be something she's not because she feels like she has to play this role of the rascally rebel, but she really has what it takes to be a competent officer. And when she accepts that truth about herself, everyone benefits from it, from innocent bystanders to herself and her crewmates.
Very nicely said. Ashley, anything to add to that?
This episode to me is rife with the adage of don't judge a book by its cover, from everything from Ramsey and Mariner's relationship, like John was unpacking, to the freaks of it all, to the doctor who is heading it up, to Tendy's relationship with the dog. They think their relationship with this person or this character is going to play out a certain way, and it doesn't. And in the end, they're all actually a lot better for it. And if I may stay on my soapbox for a minute, I think it's also, even though this was animated like a year ago, wear your mask, because the first time we meet the Doctor, he is wearing a face mask. And I was like, wow, I know this wasn't intended, but it felt very powerful to me actually to see that rendered on screen. So John, take us out. What do you think is your moral?
I am so glad. Look, the three of us, we are simpatico. I love this feeling because two of my notes that I'd written down, one of them was, don't judge a book by its cover, even if it has an evil laugh. It's okay. And the other one was cooperate, work together, trust.
Perfect.
All about that trust. It's beautiful. John, I guess we have to find a third seat on the show because you nailed it, man. Please call back. It was a pleasure to have you on tonight. Thank you again.
Pleasure was all mine. Thank you.
John, it was nice to officially meet you as a longtime listener. I am familiar with your comments.
So sweet. Thank you very much.
Look at that. Well, thank you both. And thank you to everybody who listened tonight. Mission Log is produced by Roddenberry Entertainment, executive producer Rod Roddenberry, technical production on Mission Log Live by the indefatigable Earl Green. Be sure to visit podcast.roddenberry.com for the latest from the Roddenberry Podcast Network, including not just Mission Log, but also Women at Warp, Priority One, The Trek Files, your daily Star Trek news, and Shabam!
Shabam!
Well done.
I finally figured it out.
If you would like to support Mission Log directly, give us a look at patreon.com/Mission Log. Thank you again to everybody who joined us live or later. Stay safe, stay healthy, wear a mask like that Adosian, because he knew what was up. We look forward to talking with you next week.